Discover how a Nigerian girl's incredible journey in a Korean school revealed hidden strengths. Ada stepped off the plane, the smell of her new life filling her lungs like a breath of fresh air. The bustling sounds of America wrapped around her like a warm embrace, full of hope and vibrant possibilities. She was 13, with dreams as big as the sky, filled with visions of friendships, laughter, and new beginnings. When her mom secured that job, everything seemed possible. But stepping into the prestigious Korean school was like entering a maze, where every corner whispered her differences. Her first day was a whirlpool of excitement and dread. The classrooms were bright, echoing with the chatter of students. But as Ada walked in, the energy shifted. Whispers swirled around her, stares landed and lingered like unwanted weights on her shoulders. Was it her Nigerian skin? Her accent? She felt like a puzzle piece that didn't belong in this picture, the overwhelming tide of loneliness crashing against her dreams. In the cafeteria, she found an empty table. The food was unfamiliar, but she would soon learn to navigate those tastes. Each lunch felt like a silent movie, her only company the clinking of silverware, the distant laughter of others. It was heart-wrenching. Then, in that sea of exclusion, she spotted Suji. She was sitting alone, her eyes downcast, shame crescendoing as bullies circled. Ada felt that familiar pang in her chest, recognizing the pain of being an outsider. Little did Ada know that the moment she walked over to Suji would change everything. "Can I sit here?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. Suji's timid smile lit up like a sunrise breaking through the clouds. They quickly bonded over shared struggles, two different girls, battling the harsh currents of rejection. Ada had her dreams of belonging, while Suji was just trying to cope with her weight. As they confided in each other, the world around them faded. Their late-night chats turned into plans to confront the school's culture of cruelty. Ada continued her part-time job at a local shop to help her family, all the while nurturing their growing friendship. Armed with stories from their mothers about hard work and perseverance, they prepared for an assembly. This was their chance. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Driven by a spark of courage, Ada and Suji decided to organize a cultural fair, a festival to celebrate diversity and unite everyone. They envisioned a day where peers would dance under colors and sounds that represented their unique backgrounds. But with that vision came challenges. As the fair approached, unexpected setbacks emerged, and their determination wavered under pressure. On the day of the fair, Ada stood at the forefront. She felt the excitement bubbling inside her, a rhythm of hope propelling her. But just as the energy peaked, a harsh comment rippled through the crowd, leaving her rattled. Doubts flooded her mind. Will friendship and unity be enough to withstand the weight of prejudice? As she gazed out at the students, her heart raced with uncertainty. Would her dreams of acceptance crumble, or would this be the moment they each found their voices? Ada's heart pounded like a drum. She scanned the crowd, where eyes shimmered with curiosity, skepticism, and a hint of excitement. The stage gleamed under the bright lights, but every whisper felt like a dark cloud looming over her. Would they truly embrace what she and Suji had created? Suji stood nervously beside her, clutching a handmade poster that read "Unity in Diversity." The colors danced in the light, cheerfully vibrant, a stark contrast to the worry stitched across Suji's face. "We've got this," Ada smiled, trying to infuse confidence into her friend. Deep down, however, she questioned their plans. As the assembly began, their school principal addressed the gathered students. "Today, we celebrate our differences." His voice echoed through the hall. Ada held her breath, willing the audience to connect with his message. When it was their turn to take the stage, time seemed to slow down. Ada stepped up to the microphone, her palms slick with sweat. But the moment she opened her mouth, A wave of determination washed over her. Hello? My name is Ada, and this is Suji. We are here to share our cultures. The audience shifted, and she felt bare under their stares. But she pushed on, the words spilling out like a rush of energy. Every one of us has a story, and our differences make us stronger. For a second, there was silence. Then, as if awakening from a dream, a few students clapped, timidly at first, then building momentum. Encouraged, Suji chimed in, her voice growing steadier. We all want to be accepted. Let us celebrate each other. As the words hung in the air, Ada caught sight of familiar faces, the bullies who had once made her feel small. They were listening. As music began filling the auditorium, showcased performances blossomed into life. Different cultures danced before their eyes. Ada's nervousness faded, replaced by a sense of belonging. It wrapped around her like a favorite blanket. Her heart swelled with pride as she watched students embrace one another in celebration. But amidst the joy, the comments came like shadows again. What are they even doing? A voice sneered near the back of the room. Ada's heart sank. She glanced at Suji, who looked equally deflated, her face a portrait of vulnerability. Was this truly the change they envisioned? Suddenly, a light flickered within Ada. She took a step forward. Please, if you're not interested, listen anyway. We're all deserving of respect and understanding. The crowd hushed. There was an undeniable energy in the air. Her courage ignited the spirit of unity, and those once dismissive began to applaud. As the fair continued, a new purpose ignited in the pieces of her heart that once felt shattered. They were not just standing up for themselves, they were paving the way for others. Each dance, each laughter, broke barriers that had felt so solid before. As the assembly closed, a warmth enveloped her. Friends had emerged where there once had been isolation. But even as excitement flowed, Ada wondered, was this moment just the beginning? Would they continue to face adversity together? What would the next challenge bring? The thoughts loomed large, like the evening sky deepening with color. Ada knew they had embarked on a journey, and she couldn't shake the feeling that an even bigger trial lay just ahead, one that would test their friendship like never before. Ada felt a strange mixture of hope and anxiety as she stepped off the stage. The assembly had ended, but the echoes of applause still danced around her. She turned to Suji, whose nervous smile had gradually transformed into a broad grin. Did you see their faces? Suji exclaimed. They actually listened. Yeah, they did, Ada replied, her heart still racing. But beneath her joy, a knot of uncertainty lingered. Was this just a fleeting high? As they made their way back to their seats, Ada noticed a group of students whispering in the corner. The same faces who had been dismissive earlier. They seemed to sidestep the crowd, their laughter sounding off. Suddenly, her earlier triumph swelled into a nagging feeling of vulnerability. Suppose they railed against their initiative? The question gnawed at her. Let's get ice cream after school, Suji suggested, snapping Ada from her spiraling thoughts. It's our celebration. I'd love that, Ada replied, her spirits lifting. They had made a small difference today, and ice cream sounded like the perfect reward. As they collected their things and stepped into the fluorescent-lit hallway, Ada spotted Tund, a quiet boy from her math class. His eyes sparkled with uncharacteristic enthusiasm. I saw you both, he said, beaming. That was amazing. You really got through to them. Thanks, Tund. You should join us for ice cream, Ada invited. His smile widened as he accepted. For every lingering doubt, moments like this illuminated their effort. The ripple effect of their courage started to grow. Later, sitting at their favorite ice cream shop, the air filled with laughter and shared stories. Each scoop became a symbol, a promise that they could continue to uplift each other. They talked about their cultures, their dreams, and what community could truly mean. But when the warmth of camaraderie settled over them, a shadow passed across Ada's face. What if the excitement fades? What if we don't know how to keep this going? Suji frowned thoughtfully. We'll figure it out together. But what if we actually get a chance to organize something bigger? Like a cultural day? As the words tumbled from Suji's mouth, excitement crackled between them. Ada's heart thudded loudly in her chest. That could be incredible. We could really help others understand. Suddenly, a loud commotion broke through their bubble. At the entrance of the shop, a group of familiar faces burst in. They were from Ada's grade, the same bullies who made her life difficult. I can't believe they think we'll actually listen to them, one of them jeered, loud enough for everyone to hear. The laughter that followed rung sharp like glass shattering. Ada's stomach twisted, her joy splintering. Forget them, Suji whispered, but Ada could hardly respond. The despair weighing down on her was familiar yet bitter. Could they really push against the tide? Ada's mind raced. Amid the laughter and icy sweetness of the moment, would they find a way to turn the noise into harmony? Or would this be the storm that threatened to drown their new beginnings? With newfound resolve, she locked eyes with Suji. We can't let this stop us, she said, her voice steadying. We have to show them we mean it. Together, we can make a difference. As she spoke, Ada felt the flicker of courage ignite once more. But her heart also thudded with fear, the question looming larger than ever. Was there a way to turn the ridicule into respect? How could they push through the darkness gathering at the edges? The idea of Cultural Day felt like the first step into uncharted territory. They had started this journey. But what awaited them at the next bend? Ada took a deep breath, the laughter from the bullies echoing painfully in her ears. It was the same sound that had haunted her dreams, the laughter that had once made her feel small and invisible. But today was different. She wasn't going to let it define her. Let us not let them bring us down, okay? She said, turning to Suji and Tund, who looked equally perturbed. We have something special going on here. We just have to focus on that. Suji nodded, her eyes sparkling with determination. You're right. We'll create a cultural day that's so amazing, they won't be able to ignore it. Tund chimed in, yeah. We could showcase music, food, stories, everything. They can't laugh at us if we bring a real celebration to the school. Ada felt a thrill of hope flutter in her chest. What if they really did it? What if this cultural day became something fantastic? It would be their way of shining back at the negativity, of showing everyone their true colors. They quickly began brainstorming ideas, their fears replaced by enthusiasm. They grabbed napkins and started jotting down lists, performers, traditional dishes, decorations, every detail they could think of. But just as they were really getting into it, the group of bullies slid into the booth next to them. Laughter erupted again, this time mixed with muttered insults. Look at them, planning their cultural day. As if anyone cares. One of them said, their voice dripping with mockery. The sting of their words felt like an icy dagger pressing against Ada's heart. For a moment, her confidence wavered. Did they really believe they could pull this off against such disdain? But then she thought of her family and the vibrant festivals back home, filled with laughter, music, and unity. We can do this, she whispered to Suji and Tund, who nodded determinedly. Let us reach out to other cultures at school, Suji suggested. If we can include more students, they won't be able to ignore us. I can contact the music club, Tund added. And we could set up a booth for sharing stories. Everyone has a story to tell. The more they spoke, the more the vision of their cultural day began to take shape. It transformed from a mere idea into a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and experiences they could bring alive. As they finalized their plans, Ada felt a swelling pride in her chest. This was their mission. No snickers or scoffs would hold them back. They'd be the ones to create change, to bridge gaps and build understanding. Determination coursed through her, and she felt lighter than she had since stepping off the stage. It was time to put the wheels in motion, and they weren't going to go it alone. I'll start a social media campaign, she said suddenly. If we spread the word, maybe we can even get more kids involved. And we can address the negativity directly. Absolutely. Suji beamed, her excitement infectious. Let us show them what we can do. They each pulled out their phones and started texting friends. Ada's fingers flew over the screen, her heart racing at the thought of rallying more support. Maybe today could mark not just a cultural celebration, but a turning point. But amidst the hopeful excitement, another thought flashed through Ada's mind: what if they didn't get enough support? What if the bullies turned the whole effort into a joke? Fear rippled through her, but didn't stop her. It pushed her to be bolder. As they wrapped up their plans, the air buzzed with possibility. Just then, Ada received a notification from social media, a comment from someone she didn't expect. A fellow classmate, someone who usually stayed on the sidelines, had offered their help, expressing curiosity about the cultural day. Among the uncertainty, there was now a glimmer of something more. Maybe, just maybe, Ada whispered, feeling the weight lift ever so slightly. We can really do this. Excitement crackled again between them, but as they shared smiles and laughter, another familiar voice interrupted their bubble, someone who had made Ada's life difficult in ways she hadn't expected. You really think this will change anything? The voice taunted from behind them. Ada turned to see a figure leaning against the wall, and her heart sank. Was this their test? What was coming next could be their moment of truth. Ada's heart raced as she turned to face the figure, her stomach twisting into knots. It was Jake, the ringleader of the bullies. His cocky smirk made her blood boil, but deep down, a part of her felt the cold touch of fear creep in. What do you want, Jake? She managed to say, her voice steadier than she felt. Jake stepped closer, his friends following suit, creating a wall of mockery surrounding them. I just wanted to see the big cultural day you think will save everyone from boredom. What a joke. You think anyone actually cares about your boring stories and weird food? A hush fell over the group, and Ada felt the heat rise in her cheeks. But then Suji squeezed her hand, grounding her. She remembered the vibrant colors of the festivals back home, the laughter, the joy, the love. She couldn't let Jake's cruelty dim that light within her. We're proud of who we are, Ada shot back, the words igniting a flicker of bravery. We're going to make it a day to remember, and whether you like it or not, people will care. Jake's eyes flickered with surprise, and his gang exchanged confused glances. This wasn't the Ada they'd bullied before, the girl who hid behind her books. She stood taller now, fiercer. The walls they'd built around her for so long began to crack. Whatever. You can try, Jake said, his tone suddenly less confident, but he quickly resumed his usual bravado. But I bet you'll fail. You all will look stupid in front of the whole school. Not if we work together, Tund interjected, stepping up beside Ada, his voice steady. You can't take away our power. We're building something meaningful, and that scares you, doesn't it? We'll have music, food, stories, real connections. You'll see, Suji added, her eyes deep with sincerity. And maybe someday you'll understand what it means to be part of something bigger. The tension in the air shifted slightly. Ada could see the flicker of uncertainty in Jake's eyes as he glanced at his friends. They had expected her and her friends to back down, to crumble under the pressure. But here they stood, firm and united. Ada had no idea if their words would reach him, but they poured from her heart, fueled by the hope blooming inside her. Jake scoffed again, but this time it felt like a cover for something deeper. You'll see, he muttered and turned away with his friends, but for the first time, Ada sensed a crack in his confidence as they walked off. As they breathed out their sighs of relief, Ada wondered if maybe, just maybe, they had begun to chip away at the walls that had always divided them. The night marinated the air, and she felt lighter, stronger. Did you see that? Tund exclaimed, excitement bubbling in his voice. We stood up to him. We might actually make a difference. Yeah, Suji added, her face alight. If we can face him, then nothing can stop us now. Ada's heart danced with the thrill of their small victory, but a thought nagged at the back of her mind. It had been just one encounter. Would they have the strength to handle the inevitable challenges ahead? Would their courage last? As they gathered their notes to leave, Ada heard that familiar notification sound fill the air again. Another comment on their social media post, this time a message from someone saying, I want to join. I want to help with the cultural day. A flicker of hope ignited in her heart. This journey to acceptance had the potential to grow even bigger, but even as joy bubbled inside her, Ada couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenge was yet to come. Would they have the stamina to stand strong when the bullies turned their focus back on them? Or could they find strength in each other, and those they had inspired? A glance between Ada, Suji, and Tun told her they were ready. Together, they could face anything, yet deep down, she wondered what more they might have to sacrifice to make their dream a reality. What next hurdle awaited them, and would they rise to the challenge, or would they falter? The next day buzzed with an energy that felt electric. Ada woke up early, anticipation curling around her stomach. As the sun spilled warmth through her window, she resolved to focus solely on the cultural day. She could feel her friends' excitement ripple in the texts flowing back and forth. Ideas bounced around like popcorn, dancers, performers, booths filled with food. This day was going to be something special. As she stepped into the school, the vibrant chatter of students met her ears, amplifying her hope. Confidence hummed beneath her skin, even as she spotted Jake at the far end of the hallway. He leaned casually against the lockers with his crew, but their eyes were drawn to her like moths to a flame. "You think you're all high and mighty now?" Jake called out, voice dripping with cynicism when they locked eyes. "Just wait. It's going to come crashing down." Ada took a deep breath, recalling the strength she felt the night before. "And if it does, we'll get back up. That's what matters." Her boldness surprised even her. For a second, Jake's smirk faltered, replaced by a flicker of doubt, maybe even intrigue. But instead of lingering, he shrugged it off, stuffing his hands into his pockets while his friends snickered. As classes went on, whispers of their celebration began to spread. She and her friends found more support than they ever expected. Classmates, even some who usually avoided them, came forward, eager to contribute. Local shops heard about their bustling plans and offered to donate food and decorations. Ada felt the community rallying behind them, turning their dreams into something tangible. During lunch, the cafeteria was buzzing with a mix of excitement and celebration. Tun stood on a table, showcasing a poster he had designed, filled with vibrant images of their cultures and the promise of their event. Suji waved her arms, drawing in any curious onlookers. As Ada watched them rally students, a swell of joy surged in her chest. But then the bell rang. The chaos of lunchtime settled into an uneasy calm. Students moved towards their next classes. As the air thinned with conversations, Ada felt a weight anchor in her stomach. The reality of what lay ahead pressed down on her. That night, as she lay in bed, doubt crept back. What if the support faded? What if Jake and his friends turned their taunts into something worse? The bathroom mirror reflected her eyes, searching for bravery. She didn't want to disappoint this newfound community, or herself. The vision of the cultural day glimmered in her mind, mingled with bright smiles and laughter. With shaky hands, she scrolled through the social media posts. More people had joined in. Messages lit up the screen, excited to help with the dance. "And who's bringing the jollof rice? Count me in." Each note reignited her determination, yet, amidst the excitement, a sudden thought struck her. What if Jake wasn't the only challenge? The realities of fitting in, connecting cultures, and revealing her identity in a new place felt heavy. Ada tossed and turned, weaving between fear and hope until exhaustion finally took over. When she slept, she dreamed of the festival, glorious lights, beautiful dresses, and joyous noise, but in the corner lurked shadows. They whispered doubt, and Ada knew she had to keep pushing forward. As the day of the festival approached, whispers turned into chatter, and Ada's heart raced again. Was she really ready to face what was coming? The stage was set for something incredible, but would they seize the moment, or would doubt cast a shadow over their dreams? As she stared at the clock ticking down, Ada could feel the world shifting beneath her feet, preparing for a confrontation that might change everything. Would they stand united, no matter the challenge ahead? Would Jake rise to become more than just a bully, or could they turn the tides once and for all? The morning of the cultural day dawned bright and clear. Ada brushed her hair back with trembling hands, excitement dancing in her chest. Today was the day she'd been dreaming of, and the sun beaming through her window felt like a blessing. Anticipation bubbled just beneath the surface as she applied the slightest hint of makeup, a splash of color on her cheeks, lip gloss to brighten her smile, Her room was filled with costumes and artifacts from her culture laid out like treasures she was about to unveil. Each piece had a story, a memory woven tightly into its fabric. As she slipped into her vibrant dress, she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. The reflection sparkled with hope and uncertainty. The girl staring back at her was ready to embrace the world, yet nerves gripped her heart. At school, the air thrummed with energy. The halls were festooned with colorful banners from various cultures, and laughter echoed around every corner. As she maneuvered through the excited throngs of students, she caught snippets of conversations filled with anticipation. Tund and Suji were already setting up the booth decorated with lights and ornaments, their joy infectious. "This is it, Ada. Can you believe it?" Suji exclaimed, her eyes wide as she gestured to the crowd forming outside. Ada smiled, the warmth of their shared passion defeating her shivers of doubt. But then she saw Jake a few yards away, laughing with his friends, their expressions a mix of amusement and contempt. Her heart raced. Could this day still hold joy amidst the shadows of past taunts? Adept at masking her fears, she steeled herself, reminding herself of the support she had gathered. The event kicked off, a whirlwind of laughter, music, and color. Each booth came alive with traditional food, games, and dance performances. For a moment, it felt like they had ignited a spark in the heart of the school, a shared space where everyone, regardless of their background, could feel connected. The sight of students from different cliques mingling effortlessly brought tears of happiness to Ada's eyes. As Ada prepared to showcase her heritage with a dance, a hush fell over her. Stepping out into the open space, she felt both exhilarated and terrified. She glanced at Tund and Suji, who nodded encouragingly. Sucking in a breath, she took her first step into the spotlight, the music enveloping her like a warm embrace. But just as she began to find her rhythm, the air shifted. A loud whoop echoed from Jake's direction, cutting through the cheerful melody. "Look at her! Think she's a superstar now?" His sneering voice seared through the air, pulling a blanket of discomfort over the crowd. Ada faltered for just a moment, doubt clawing at her confidence. But then she saw Tund step forward, fists clenched. "Why don't you join us, Jake? Show us what you've got." The crowd's reaction was electric. Some cheered for solidarity, while others giggled nervously. Suddenly, Ada felt a wave of strength surge within her. This was not just her moment. It was theirs. As she resumed dancing, each movement felt cathartic. The whispers of doubt faded into the background, replaced by the rhythm resonating in her heart. Would Jake's comment throw her off track, or could she turn this challenge into a moment of transformation? Would today become a celebration or just another reminder of division? As she twirled and leapt, one thing was certain: she was ready to confront whatever came next, prepared to shine in her own light, no matter what shadows loomed nearby. The crowd began to join in, weaving together cultures and uniting against negativity. But as the dance heated up, Ada caught a glimpse of Jake retreating. Something flickered in his eyes, a hint of something more. Was it jealousy? Or was it an awakening? As she finished her performance, the exhilaration of community surged through her veins. What would happen next? Would Jake face the truth lurking behind his bravado, or could misunderstandings tear them apart just as quickly? The clock was ticking toward a revelation that could change everything. The music faded, but the echo of Ada's heart still thumped with the rhythm of her dance. The crowd buzzed around her, an electric mix of admiration, surprise, and unity. She could feel the warmth radiating around her from classmates who had once been strangers and were now part of this shared moment. But her gaze kept drifting back to where Jake had stood, now lost in the sea of faces. "Did you see that?" Tund shouted, his excitement bubbling over. "You were amazing!" He made his way through the crowd, scooping Ada up in a hug that felt like a shield against any negativity. "Thanks," she breathed, her eyes sparkling with a mix of adrenaline and disbelief. Suji rushed over, her cheeks flushed. "I can't believe you just owned that stage. You turned the whole thing around." Ada felt that swell of pride, the affirmation she craved in a world that had often cast her aside. She had danced not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever felt different, for those who had been silenced. Yet, through the commotion, a subtle shadow tugged at her heart. What would happen when the applause died down? How would Jake react to being challenged? Let us go celebrate. Suji grinned brightly, pulling her friends toward a food booth brimming with exotic dishes. The promise of celebration was appealing, but Ada felt tethered, the lightness in her chest colliding with the heaviness of uncertainty. Just as they approached a stall adorned with colorful treats, Ada caught sight of Jake standing at the edge of the crowd, alone. He seemed to be wrestling with something, his hands shoved deep into his pockets, shoulders tensed. A mix of empathy and caution washed over her. "Hey, I'll be right back," she said abruptly, feeling a sudden urge to connect, to understand. "Where are you going?" Tun called, but Ada didn't wait for a reply. She made her way through the onlookers, heart pounding, each step laden with questions. "Jake," she said softly as she reached him, her voice trembling slightly. He looked up, surprised. "What do you want, Ada?" His tone was defensive, as though he expected a fight. "I wanted to talk," she replied, searching his eyes for even a hint of the boy she once knew before the laughter turned cruel. "About what you said during my dance." "Huh, you think I care?" His bravado was back, but she noticed the flicker of vulnerability hiding beneath it. "I think you do," she asserted gently, keeping her voice steady. "You laughed, but something else bothering you. It's okay to feel that way. We all have things we struggle with." He looked away, staring at the now empty space where laughter had filled moments earlier. "Not everything is as easy as you make it look," he muttered, gripping the fabric of his shirt. "Trust me, it's not easy for me either," Ada confessed, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. "I'm dancing for my culture, my roots. I just want to be accepted." "I want you to be accepted too." Jake met her gaze, and for a moment, the world around them faded. The noise, the laughter, the vibrant colors, their lives and cultures became distant. Instead, there was only the shared understanding of facing fears, being caught between who you are and how others see you. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he finally said, his voice more subdued. I don't know how to be different. It's hard." "Maybe that's where we start," Ada ventured. "By talking, by sharing who we really are. Let us not let any of this push us apart." His expression softened, the faintest hint of a smile breaking through the walls he had built. "Maybe I can give it a shot if you can." As she turned to join her friends, a small spark of hope ignited in her chest. Could this be the beginning of something new? Something that mended the rift instead of widening it? But just then, a loud buzzer echoed through the air. "Attention, everyone! Our cultural showcase is not over yet. Please gather around for our final event." Ada glanced back at Jake, a shared determination creeping into the look they exchanged. Perhaps today wasn't merely an end. Perhaps it was a doorway to something more. What would that final event reveal? Would their connection deepen into something meaningful, or would it all slip away in the chaos? The moment was fragile and full of possibilities, heading into uncharted territory. The crowd shifted, excitement dancing in the air again as students gathered for the final event. Ada could feel the energy around her pulsing like a living thing, but her mind was still with Jake. Would he come with her, or would this moment slip back into awkwardness? "Come on!" Suji called out, waving her arm. "We can't miss this." The thrill in her voice was infectious, but Ada shot one last look at Jake. He stood there, caught in his thoughts, something unspoken hanging between them. "Hey," she said, gesturing for him to join them. He hesitated, the change in his demeanor evident. She wondered if he felt the same mixture of excitement and fear that swirled inside her. "Just, give me a second," Jake replied, his voice barely above a whisper, as if the weight of his emotions pressed down on him. It felt like a small intimate moment wrapped in a public spectacle. "Okay," Ada replied, forcing a bright smile. She wasn't sure what would happen next, but she wasn't ready to give up. It felt crucial to initiate a connection to pull apart the insecurities that threatened to pull them down. As she turned to join her friends, a delicate thrill of nervous energy wound through her. The stage was prepared, colorful banners flying, people buzzing with anticipation, each element capturing the spirit of diversity, and unity. Soon, the host, a charismatic senior with a microphone, took center stage. Thank you for being part of our cultural showcase. Our next act is truly special, a celebration of who we are and where we come from. A warm applause erupted, and Ada felt herself warming to the crowd's enthusiasm. The spotlight dimmed, and a new group stepped forward, performers dressed in traditional attire from various cultures, including dancers from Mexico, a K-pop crew, and even a small ensemble performing folktales from around the world. Each performance layered the event with stories, memories, and heritage. The familiar rhythm of Ada's pulse echoed the music filling the air. She didn't want to be an observer tonight, she wanted to be part of this harmony. As the ballerina took the stage, gracefully spinning, Ada's heartbeat matched the fluidity of the movements. Artists weren't just entertainers. They were warriors, shaping narratives, conveying truths hidden in vivid motions. She glanced back toward Jake, who was now standing with Tund and Suji at the edge of the crowd. His eyes were glued to the dancers, his walls beginning to shift. A flicker of something admiration, perhaps, spread across his face. Just then, the host announced, and for our last event, we invite everyone to join us in an open dance. Show us your moves, shake off your fears, and let us celebrate our shared world. The invitation sent electric waves through Ada. She remembered bits of her ballet training, the hip-hop classes with friends, how liberating dance felt when it wasn't confined to judgment. She turned around, swept by a wave of collective courage, capturing Jake's uncertain gaze. "Come on, Jake!" she shouted, her voice slicing through the din like a beacon. "Let us do it together." Her heart raced, a blend of anticipation and vulnerability poked at the corners of her confidence. He hesitated, then slowly took a step forward. "You really want me to join?" The skepticism hung thick in the air. "Of course. This is about all of us." Ada beamed, determined to show him that being different could be a spark of joy, not isolating. With a deep breath, Jake walked closer. The music pulsed louder, and the energy shifted, inviting everyone into a circle where the boundaries of culture faded. The colors of the dance absorbed him, and he finally smiled. Ada felt a rush of triumph. Together they stepped forward, weaving through the crowd, feeling the moment shift. Each step held the promise of reconnection, unity, and perhaps something more profound. Just as music enveloped them both, a sudden sound pierced through the distinct clang of a small bell. All eyes turned as one more announcement was made. "Before we begin, we have a special presentation from a surprise guest." Curiosity surged like wildfire. Who could it be? The anticipation hovered in the air, thickening the atmosphere once more. Ada turned to Jake, their shared excitement turning into a newfound warmth. What would this surprise reveal? Would it deepen their bond, introduce new challenges, or perhaps unveil secrets that lingered in the past? The unknown shimmered ahead, promising a turn in their journey together. The final moments of the cultural day unfolded like a beautiful tapestry woven together from diverse threads. Ada's heart raced as the crowd murmured, eager curiosity painting every face. An unspoken anticipation was in the air, thick and electric. She squeezed Jake's hand, a gesture that surprised them both, but felt just right. Suddenly, a figure emerged from behind the curtain, clad in traditional garments that shimmered under the bright lights. Ada's mother. The audience erupted into confused chatter. A mix of surprise and recognition washed over Ada. Her mom had flown in to support her dreams. Tears sprang into Ada's eyes as the crowd acknowledged her presence, some cheering warmly. "Hi everyone! I couldn't miss this." Her mother's voice rang clear, filled with pride. Ada's chest swelled, every ounce of doubt evaporating in that moment. As her mother shared a heartfelt story about her own childhood, another thread of connection was knit. With each word, Ada felt the warmth of home wrap around her, stitching together her African roots and this new beginning in a foreign land. She could see Jake listening too, his eyes softening amidst the laughter and nostalgia. When her mom finished speaking, she called for Ada to join her on stage. "This is my daughter Ada. She has a fire like no other," she said, eyes twinkling. "Together, let us celebrate our cultures." Taking her mother's hand, Ada felt the energy of unity erupt in the crowd. Jake watched, noticing the way the audience connected, how barriers dissolved as different backgrounds mingled in appreciation. As Ada stepped to the microphone, her voice rang out. "No matter where you're from, all of us make this community special." Cheers erupted in support, a cascade of validation washing over her. "Let us dance. Let us celebrate who we are," she called, inviting everyone to join. She wasn't alone anymore. She had the backing of her new friends, her family, and now an extended community that had begun to bloom. The music turned lively again, and the crowd transformed into a vibrancy of laughter and movement. Ada and Jake found themselves at the center, lost in the rhythm as students from various cultures danced together, intertwining their stories under the starlit sky. It was beautiful chaos, a moment where everyone felt a sense of belonging. Ada noticed how Jake's earlier bravado had softened. As they danced side by side, the barriers he'd built began to crumble. He laughed, his laughter mingling with others, and for the first time, Ada caught a glimpse of the boy beneath the jaded facade, someone yearning to be accepted. "Thanks for inviting me," he said, breathless from dancing. "This is different than I thought it would be." Ada smiled, her heart swelling with hope. "It's about connection, Jake. A reminder that being different is beautiful." With every swirl and every beat, the sense of unity settled in more firmly, and Ada realized that they could be the change they once wished for. They had proven that kindness was louder than ridicule. They had transformed echoes of doubt into an anthem of acceptance. As dusk began to settle, and the last notes of celebration lingered in the air, a collective sense of achievement hung like a golden thread binding them all. The event wasn't just a celebration, it was a declaration of solidarity, a testament to shared struggle, and a joyful reminder of how difference could bring people together. A warmth blossomed in Ada's chest, one of hope and new beginnings, reflecting her journey to this moment. She had found strength in her identity, woven it into the fabric of this new community, and in doing so, had opened doors to understanding, empathy, and friendship. Together, they had created not just a cultural day, but a promise of tomorrow, a promise that shaped who they would become, together, despite obstacles. "Let us do this again," Jake suggested, looking at Ada, the comfort of shared experiences shining in his gaze. "Definitely," Ada replied, her smile radiant. "Together, we can bring even more to life." As cheers erupted once more, Ada's heart was full. They had turned the tide, transforming fear into excitement, judgment into celebration. This was just the beginning of a brighter chapter, a reminder that every small act of courage could nurture a wave of change. Ada felt free, surrounded by friends, laughter dancing in the night air. She was no longer just an outsider, she belonged to something bigger. And she knew, wherever the journey led next, they would face it together, stronger, brighter, and brighter still. Don't miss out on the journey to transformation. You need to subscribe now to catch all the inspiring stories that will touch your heart. Leave a like now to keep this channel growing. Your support feeds our mission. Comment below your feelings about Ada's journey and how it impacted you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this beautiful transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Act now and help us spread this message far and wide. Together, we can create a world full of understanding and acceptance.